Hello and welcome to another episode of the Musso Podcast. We are your hosts, Gemma, Hadi and Gone. On this podcast, as usual, we share a microphone for fresh conversations on current affairs and women's realities beyond a single story. Today's episode is a very special one. If you've been listening, you already know what this is. It's mixed feelings here in the studio today, but before we get into that, let's do our usual check-ins. What's up? What have you been up to? You're going home. Just say it.
I'm going home.
Just say
Amen.
it.
Tomorrow, inshallah. So after this episode's out.
By the time they listen to this,
yes,
you would be back.
I'll be back.
Wow.
Out of this ghetto.
Congratulations.
Had this whole vibe and everything and more change since confinement.
I can understand it. I can understand it.
To freedom. Yeah.
How far with the research, Jenna?
I mean, the rest I'm just gonna do it over the phone.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
check
us.
people.
Yeah. The people she doesn't respect.
Yeah. Because I need to be vaccinated, so I need to be out of here.
You can't get vaccinated here.
I mean, the
J&J is
vaccines
coming.
were
It's one
gone.
shot.
I'm not taking J&J.
Go. How have you
Wow.
been?
I'm really good. I'm good, alhamdulillah. Just been a little under the weather. Not COVID. Yes.
I
not
like that you
COVID.
specified
Yes,
it
I need to
because
specify, not COVID.
because the way the cases are going right now.
And the death rates, it's
Yeah.
really scary. And for me, I think the scariest thing is seeing vaccinated people walking around, at crowded places without masks, as if, being vaccinated means you're immune. I mean,
Because that's a misconception.
it's a
people
misconception
have.
that people have. I've seen a lot of people who are vaccinated and they're just walking around like that. So, you guys, mask up, stay safe, protect yourself and the older people around you. But yeah, I'm
Wash
good.
your hands.
alhamdulillah.
Wash your hands.
Wash
COVID
your
is real.
hands.
The Delta's not
COVID,
playing.
yeah.
Because what we're seeing at work as well, people are getting sicker and sicker and sicker.
Mhm.
And this time we probably hit our peak earlier than we did
Earlier,
last
yeah,
year. So
It's ridiculous. There's 11 deaths in the past 3 days.
there was. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
From the treatment center.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you're listening to this, COVID is real. Delta's doing the damage. Make sure you're masking up and take precautions. So I've been good as well. Back at work. My first week, I think I was really confused about what I was supposed to do and what I wasn't supposed to do. So I would just go and stay at my computer. But I cleared my emails and all of that. So now it's like getting back into the rhythm. And now with the cases going up, my life is back to March 2020.
Massa.
Anyways, this is episode 2020.
Wow.
It's like we have said over the past 2-3 episodes or so, the curtains or drawing the curtains on this season with this episode. So a few weeks ago we had asked those of you who listen to us to share your ideas or share your thoughts, just give us feedback on the podcast in general. And this episode is basically going to be us just reflecting on the journey, creating content and serving it weekly, all of the work that we're the wahala, the laughs, everything that. Anyways, so we're looking at everything that went into producing the Musso Podcast, season 1, which we will be ending today.
You sound
take
very
it back
excited.
to the beginning. I've been tired producing this thing. It's a lot of work
You've done the bulk
that we
of the
did not
work,
anticipate.
honestly.
We didn't realize podcasting was going to be this much hard
All
work.
I've done
I
has
think
been
pod-
yelling at people to be on time.
I think podcasting has been, it's the overachieving part
Yeah.
of you people wanting to be accessibility officers and making
standards,
subtitles.
setting standards that keep us sleepless at night. But let's take it back to the beginning. When did we even begin talking about Musso? I think it was
2019.
2020.
February 2020.
So the original actually thing was around 2019.
Yeah.
But then together as a group, I think around February 2020
Yeah.
was when we started planning. And it took us a whole year to put out an episode.
Most of it was procrastination.
Yeah.
We were
No, but
planning.
it was also COVID too, because we had puppies, do our graphics and everything in February
and we
2020.
created our social pages.
We created
and
our
all.
social
Oh, yeah.
pages in March, and then COVID hit, and Jama's life became a mess, and
Yeah.
obviously everyone else's lives locked down and everything. So it was involuntary procrastination.
Yeah. But we were planning as well, because I feel like in that period we also were just looking at how do we make it better, how do we make sure people are able to access it. And I think it's from those discussions that
We achieved a lot.
so we developed our brand. There were a lot of things that we did. I think we started recording in December.
Even the content pages, when you open the drive,
Yeah.
you see the content folders and everything. They were created in like July or June
The concept,
last year.
our jingles and everything, we did all of that, and we were just sitting on it and waiting. And I think December we just woke up one morning and said, let's go record.
But I think
record
also
the first episode.
that's why we were able to be consistent
Yeah.
with the episodes, because we had the structure down.
Yep.
So we were able to, like, I remember before we launched, we had recorded like the first few
Four, yeah.
quite
Yeah.
early, so that we could, and that's helped us so much, because if we didn't do that, we would have
We're
been
gonna suffer.
there would have
wouldn't
been
be able to
weeks.
put out,
There would have been weeks
weekly.
that would have to jump here, jump there, outside of Ramadan. So
But it's been really nice. I think one of my favorite things has been just the structure we gave it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the consistency.
Yeah. Oh, Habib Njai. Habib Njai, you have nothing to say to us. We gave you 20 episodes weekly, like we promised. Wow. Except I'm in a break, and that was a break that we announced. But I mean, it's amazing that we stuck to it, because looking back now and understanding all of the work that goes into producing each episode, maybe we would not have done a weekly.
boy, when we took the Ramadan break, I had a friend come up to me like, "Why are you guys on break?" I almost cussed her out. I was like, "Excuse me."
Somebody said we shouldn't be going on breaks because we're always speaking for them. I'm like, sis. Oh, and there was another person that said we should do 2 episodes a week.
I'm like,
I think it's about time we made it clear to you guys that it takes 2 weeks to produce 1 episode.
Yeah.
Two
It takes a
weeks.
lot of time.
It takes a lot of time.
We're recording prior and all of that. But yeah, it took us a year to plan and put everything together and decide what kind of journey we wanted with the podcast. And then we launched February 14th, which is a significant day for us. Not because of Valentine's Day.
V-Day.
Because of our V-Day, our V-Day collaboration.
Because that was our first collaboration together.
Yeah. And then we launched Musso on that day as well, 2021. What was that like for you guys? Just putting out the first episode. Or actually just putting out the promo. Because that came first.
You know, I'm very shy.
Really?
I am. So...
Wow.
I don't understand how you're saying that with a straight face.
No, but the thing is, like,
This is
outside
episode
of
20. It's a shenanigans from episode 1 to 19.
No,
This
this
is
is
where
for
you're telling
shy.
us
Like-
you're shy. Go ahead. Just go ahead. Blow our heads.
you know what? It's fine. I'm not.
No, go ahead.
Imagine people have listened to you from the promo to episode 19. And you're not saying you're shy.
thing is, right, I'm very reserved when I don't know people like that. So, like, being in the public sphere and, like, everyone, I guess, having to finally... Because I'm always like that. When I'm working on something, it's like, because this is my child now. So, putting my child out there, like, me, myself, personally, putting me out there is not a big issue. But putting something that I've worked on out there is always very nerve-wracking for me. So, it was, like, a lot of, oh, my gosh, you guys are doing... So, I'll be like, okay. Like, even till now, when people want to have conversations about the podcast, I'm just like, tweet us.
Exactly.
Or I'll change the topic instantly.
But I think we had a really good reception when we put out just a teaser flyer.
It was
to announce.
great.
It was
Yeah.
like so many. I was going through the stuff yesterday to just find some of the feedback we received over the course of putting out our episodes. And it was really nice to just the reactions we got from the first. But then it also set really high expectations for us.
It really set really high standards, and I think that was also one of the things that made it a bit harder, or the process a bit harder, because you've already set a standard and you have people looking out for the things that you're producing, so you have to keep the standard you started with. So you can't go from the promo that was really welcomed, you go from episode 1 and then you have things die down. No, you have to keep the standard, and you people being overachievers,
And remember, we had like 100 followers even before we put out anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
too.
And
So
yes,
like-
all of our followers have been organic, and the reach.
It's been amazing.
It's
I think that's been one of my, apart from doing the podcast itself, one of my favorite things has been just seeing people react to, the content that we're putting out. And we'll be sharing some of those reactions with you guys as we go, or as we move forward with this episode. But the production process, right? You guys talk about structure, you talk about form, and 1 year of planning. What has that? What? Because, I mean, people who listen to the podcast know we have a frame for the podcast. So we have our quote of the week. We have our Musso of the week. We have the discussion in between. Right. But then, I know I didn't want to go see quote person. And she has given us bell hooks and bell hooks and bell hooks. Like, she has hooked us to the bell. Like,
there's a reason I wanted the quote section there. I advocated for it because
we're not giving you quotes.
I wanted to make sure that bell hooks was represented.
Wow. Of course. And Hadi would actually
I brought Beyonce too.
Exactly. So
I'm taking the quotes next season.
I don't see a problem. But yeah, with the production, there's also this thing of the meetings. I remember at first, we'd have these. Hadi was in America, so we'd have these 2-hour long meetings over WhatsApp calls.
Where 30 minutes was the meeting.
20 minutes was the meeting, and the other was just gisting and ranting. And some days we'd actually get to the studio and not have had a meeting, and Ibu would say, "Mamel and yen meeting."
And it's funny. It's funny. The meetings we have in the studio are way more effective.
Yeah.
Yes.
We take like 10 minutes and we're done.
We're already here to record anyways.
So now
WhatsApp, it's like 2 hours.
2
and
hours.
Towards the end, we remember now we actually got on the call to discuss.
But now we do the WhatsApp text, which is even faster. Because
it's easy.
It's easier.
It's quicker. I mean, I'm in time.
For
and
real.
I think the more you do it as well, the more you find what's most effective for the process. But it hasn't been all easy because when Hadi was in the UK as well, I think I'm the time
the internet.
There was a day when we packed up and left. That was when you were sick.
It happened twice.
Yeah.
We came and the internet was just not cooperating.
Yeah.
It wasn't cooperating.
And then when I just came also, when you had well, you were sick.
Oh
You
yeah,
had COVID.
yeah. Oh, you two came and I could not.
Yeah, and we
couldn't
couldn't
connect. It's been mad.
I think this is like a good tips and tricks for
and the
people that want to start a podcast.
No, this whole episode is just a lesson for
the strategies we had to come up with just so we could let Hadi speak when she was connecting via Zoom.
sign language.
Sign language.
It's been a long one.
It has,
but it's a good thing that for the bulk of the rest of the episodes you were here, and I think it really helped also with the vibe and all of that because Zoom can be a hater sometimes.
But living cozy, but also struggling to find a Musso.
Like some of them are, you're straight up like,
very easy. You already. I mean, there were times when we each had somebody we could think of, and times when zero. And they said our trick was to just pass it on to you guys. Our trick was to pass it on to you all and say, do it. Let us know who your Mussos are. So talking about the internet, we had to deal with that, but then we had to deal with mics as well.
My mic.
His mic especially. And just all the noises that your village people are actually the most stubborn in this room.
I know. It's very stressful. But then also, speaking of my Mac, Gemma, your bangles.
I can't take them
I'm going to your little cough.
It's funny, Nate, I have a cold and I'm not coughing.
But every day
you cough on us, we'll end this episode. With the way the cases are going, you cough right now, we close the episode.
We're out.
Normally, I would have been coughing by time. Like, make it make sense.
The words of IJ, I'm kind of a dictator.
You are.
You have to the monitor, seriously.
The hell you
or timing, I'm like.
But it's also why her mic just messes up.
I say it, I have big assistant vibes, I would make a great personal assistant.
No, you can't be a personal assistant as a dictator.
Why?
You are the dictator.
Because I'm fixing that person's life.
No, it doesn't work that way.
I'm baby Iyanla, I gotta make sure everyone's life is right.
Is your life right?
That's not the point.
Your life is the most chaotic.
Have you found your life
That's not
mentor?
the point.
Have you found your life mentor?
I am my own mentor.
The one thing that did not disappoint us, I think, was Nawek. We've never really had an electricity issue in the studio.
Yeah, every time we came,
but we've had it at home with the editing and all of that. But with recording, it's been consistent. So shout outs to Nawek for behaving.
They're giving you free promo.
I will never do that.
Yeah, we might go home and find it.
Yeah, I would never do that.
So let's get into the collaboration bit. Because everybody listening hears the three of us. And I think the only time they hear about the other people is when we are closing or wrapping up. So the right click and the newly introduced left click and the traitors that we hired to be doing our transcription and video production. But yeah, for me, I think that has been one of the most beautiful things as well. How it's been just a collaborative effort, and everybody does their little bit, pam, 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 and then we have something that we put together. It's stuff that people don't see, but it's really what turns the wheels of the podcast.
IJ and Susie are, I guess they're great.
I guess.
Yeah, get one loolu men.
Last episode, last one,
I guess, but like, they're
rude. Those two are rude.
we're looking for accessibility officers for next season
Yeah,
if they
we're
don't get it
hiring.
together.
We're hiring.
Yeah. If you know you're a fast typer, you're good at transcribing,
Send your
Please,
applications.
send your applications.
And you
We're
need to be
hiring.
respectful, and you need to not be a terrorist. No dictatorship, no nothing. Just go with the vibes.
respect your employers.
But don't text us telling us, oh, how long is this episode? You know, that kind of rudeness.
I'm going to cut your sound. Those were the things these children were telling us.
Or they'll tell us, we'll see if there's an episode out on Monday if we don't
Yeah.
transcribe this or if we don't make
Or we'll
this
leak
video.
your episode before the time comes. Wow.
I don't blame them. I blame us for actually praising them and
But
telling
they're
them
good
they were
at their
doing a
work.
good
That's the thing.
They're excellent. They're excellent. They're consistent.
Lesson
they're
learned. Don't
exactly
praise
what-
people from the start. Praise them at the end.
Yeah,
That's
have
what we
waited
should be
till
doing.
today, to give them praises. Because Nimo,
But they have really helped us to just, also be consistent. Because
Yeah.
then, so don't worry, the pre-planning, the recording, the
You don't- you
editing,
don't
the
have
video
the time.
production, all of that, the transcription, rec. It would have been a lot, and we definitely will not be putting out episodes every Monday and having it out on a weekly basis. So we're just gonna
and there are many times when they've stayed up all night.
I said does that a lot.
Yeah,
I
they've
think
stayed up
B is
all
an
night
episode
to
B, so
make
call
sure-
difference, huh?
It'll be an
to
all
make sure
nighter.
that everything
Yeah.
is ready and live. So digga.
So as much as like we do, a lot of the walking in the back.
Yep.
So we're very thankful.
That's to you guys.
I guess.
So I mean, it's been amazing work, and you all have confirmed that to us, even though we already know.
Wow.
Because we set the standards.
For what?
Humble for what?
Exactly. But then for me, it's been really, like we said, I enjoyed when we would get comments and feedback, and we all come together like, look at this, the reach, the impact, and all of that. So I mean, right from the start, the love has
Yeah.
been there, the support has been there, and people have been very specific also about the things they appreciate about the podcast. And let's see what they've been saying.
Even outside of these comments, I think my favorite thing has always been like when it's Monday and people are like,
Where
"What's
is
that?"
My sister-in-law came to me and said, hi, Ajama. I'm like, hi, Naga, what's up? I thought she was just checking out. She had something to share. I was like, oh, it's Monday. I'm just reminding you. I said, sis, take my mind to talk the edit video.
Sometimes it's like 11 in the morning. I'm like, just a little bit of time. It's Gambia internet we're dealing
Where
with.
is the episode?
Literally. But so we'll start with like a few of the quotes that we have. This one is from @Cisse, and she said, just finished listening to Musso Podcast, and I loved every moment of it, starting with the theme song, all the way to how natural the conversations flow, to how lovely you all were to each other. I truly can't wait for more. Love, and the celebration emoji.
Are we lovely to each other? Are we lovely to each
They're
other?
not lovely to me, as you can tell from the last episode. I said that was my last episode even, so I don't know why I'm here.
Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
this one is from our favorite big sister.
But your favorite big sister, they are coming.
Oh, come on,
Torop.
Miss Kanje.
Yeah, we love her.
Kan is one of our favorite big sisters, always supporting, and she says, so proud of the girls of Musso Podcast sharing your journey. May the love you have for each other continue to blossom. Oh, tambale nañ si bismillah, yal nañ agali si alhamdulillah.
This is our alhamdulillah moment. And he said, listening to the Musso podcast is so refreshing. Thanks for creating such a platform. The quote from Sister Hadisi is so refreshing. The unconditionality of the sisterhood is inspiring. So I think there's a theme there. Just, wow.
No, I'm trying to remember which quote I got that from.
I don't even know. It was
No, it wasn't even a
first
quote.
Oh,
one.
I
No,
talked
Monica
about-
Dua. So he's
oh,
talking
okay.
about us, basically.
Okay.
I think this was from the first
Because
episode.
I'm like,
first
is
episode.
it from
We're talking about
Maria
our
Waba?
journey.
Is it from Bell Hooks? Which one is it?
We're tired of you and your quotes, Hadisise. We are really tired of you and your quotes.
Is it my fault that I like to read?
We all love reading, but you're over. You read only one person. But yeah, we've got a lot of love, and I think if anything, that really encouraged us. Because it's one thing. I mean, we would have done it anyway and continued with our content without really minding if people were listening or not. But it was also really nice people who were listening and people who were connecting, you know, with the things that we were doing and, you know, the conversations we were having. Because at the heart of it, that's what Musso Podcast was about. So we're just talking about general things, current affairs, you know, what's happening around us, but looking at it from, you know, our perspective as Gambian feminists, right? So we're going to go for a break now. When we come back, we'll look at more feedback, you know, more of the comments that you all have been sharing. We'll share our own reflections on what season 1 was like for us. And we'll also be featuring reflections from the 2 terrorists that we hired, Susie and Isatu. And, IJ, they're both Isatu anyway. And then we'll look at what to expect maybe for season 2 if we're going to go with that. So we'll go for a break. When we come back, we will continue the conversation. This is the season finale for Musso Podcast season 1. Welcome back to the finale, the episode finale, or the finale episode, or the final episode.
I can't speak English.
Of the first season. I'll tell you, I can't speak English, but that's something we miss. Almost every episode she tells us she can't speak English. But yeah, we're back again after that break. That's a song I'm going to miss hearing, like, continuously. The editing,
it's a nice song.
It is. It's a really lovely song.
I don't know why he hasn't released it, but
it's ours.
That song. So people are gonna
like, oh, it's the Musso song.
Exactly. Nyaka may buzz. Nyaka may buzz. But right before the break, we were looking at some of the love that you guys have been sending us, and we'll kick off again. Just take some more of the comments. A lot of these were taken from. I think Twitter has been our platform, really.
It has.
Compared to like Instagram, and I think I would rank it Twitter, Insta, Facebook. You know, based on the reactions that we were getting and just the reception in general.
And YouTube comments, bro.
And YouTube as well. So YouTube also was doing very well. Shout out to Sida. That was for you.
Yeah.
So this is from Dina. So I hope I'm pronouncing it right. She's based in France. And wow, just discovered Musso Podcast and spent hours listening to 3 amazing women. I like everything about it. The topics, the connection between them, the voices, and even the parts that I don't understand. I can't say what language it is. Your Malian sister from France.
It's the reach for me.
Girl, I swear every time she comments, I get so happy. We went on our eat break. She was like, where are the episodes?
And she put it up on her Insta. I saw one of the posts where she had like, she was catching up and you could see all of the episodes that she played. So all the way from France, we're sending you a lot of amour.
Oui.
Dina, thank you so much for listening to the Musso Podcast, for sharing it with your friends. She does a lot of reading, so that's her thing, books and all of that, you know, and she has an audience, and she was, you know, kind enough to share the podcast with other people. Let's take another one. Yeah, so from France, where are we going?
We're going to America.
International.
We're going to America. This one is from Munas J, who I absolutely adore. She's
the most amazing.
She's amazing. She's amazing. I met her a few years ago, and it was really great. She's great vibes. She's smart. She's just a lot of different things.
And really kind.
She's very kind.
Super kind.
Yeah. And this is, we're throwing it back all the way to the first episode. You feel me? She said, the first episode of Musso Podcast gave me all the feels. I love seeing genuine female friendships. That was a perfect opening episode. Congratulations at Hattie C, at the Jama Jack, at NNJeng _. On an uplifting inaugural champion.
Serious.
Pretty encouraging, and I think it really just embodies who she is. She's always like celebrating people, always encouraging people, like
Always.
Lovely.
That's
lovely.
a real one. That's a real one.
Do we stay in the US or do we want to move to another country?
Let's stay in the US.
I mean, yeah, there's this one from Jang Hajan.
She's my cousin, y'all.
Oh, is she?
I'm gonna tell her
I'm
what
gonna
Oz tells
The
me.
thing is, right? No, she was actually, and you know, she was one of those things where like we were friends. We went to school together actually in at UGA, and then like one time, you know, always they're like kisambokala. I was like, yeah, whatever. But then when I found out that our dads are actually first cousins, I was like, oh, we're related. But then I really love her anyway. And then we were roommates during my senior year, and I hate doing my laundry. She used to do my laundry for me.
Wow, exploitation.
Wow.
I love her. I mean, I would cook, but she's amazing.
Anyway, Jang Hajan says this week's Musso Podcast episode, it really reminded me of how much more open and honest conversations we need in the Gambian community. I've literally related to almost every point that was brought up in this episode. Be right back, currently feeling all the feels.
I think that was the episode on failure.
Yeah.
And we had quite a lot of people, reaching out to say like they could relate a lot to, you know, all of the things that we were saying. It's amazing how you can just sit here and say your stuff, and it's And IJ also had shared a reaction with regards to that episode, and she said, "This is by far my favorite episode yet." They say that all the time.
Every episode is their favorite episode.
So she adds, loved how it's tackled the teachings and conditioning around failure in our society, and how we have been raised to believe success takes material and status in society. Also great tips to deal with failure on a personal level.
Love it.
Yeah, that was a big episode. It got a lot of love. I think it was one of our best performing
that one
episodes.
and the Humble for What episode, and for that
because I think they
tied together, and I saw this reaction from Isa to Bite, and her comment, it touched me. She said, "Finally able to catch up with this episode, so relatable. I was constantly saying to myself I need to do better. Well, in the spirit of celebration, I took 10 minutes of work with my daughter so tight and celebrated myself for bringing her into this world."
Oh my god! Oh my god!
It was all the love, because I think it really just reminded people to just celebrate who you are.
Yeah.
You know, there's really no beauty in playing small. So we got really amazing feedback from one of the biggest Musso, Buya Jalo. Buya wrote us a whole thesis, and I think she also mentioned something around, you know, the Humble for What. She says, the Humble for What episode for me was huge because I realized how much I've been conditioned to shrink myself from the home, workplace, in the streets, everywhere. It also linked nicely with the difficult woman one, and how I'm embracing the new phrases I'm being called recently because legi how much my papa. It was really what I needed to hear to give myself a fucking break. Mona says we should use profanity.
I support.
And I love how it moves from the failure to the humble for what to the difficult woman. So there was like a thread, you know, just tying our different
and even the relationships, choosing. Because I'm gonna read one that I liked. This is from Mariam Almami.
That's Matida.
Matida. All right. Matida said, thank you for the affirmation, hashtag MUSSOPOD. I walked out on a lot of BS relationships last year. First, I thought I was overreacting, but now I'm more peaceful with myself, set clear boundaries, sometimes find myself almost running back to the same people again. You know, it's so important that we talked about these things, especially like when you learn to set boundaries. It's always
a problem,
a huge problem.
That's when what we are said, like humble us about. That's
and that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
I'm me. I'm that bitch.
I think another episode that did well was the politics of modesty one.
Yeah.
The sexuality and modesty one. And we had Hadijonga reacting to that one. Like, episode 2 of Musso Podcast hit home hard. Thank you, ladies, for this beautiful conversation that broke down the politics of modesty. Also, setting the tone with Maya's words was just... Looking forward to episode 3. So that was episode 2. And
you're welcome for the quotes.
You're welcome for what?
The quotes.
Was that you? Did you give us Maya as well?
I bring a lot of them.
You did not bring all.
I said I bring a lot.
You didn't even bring most of them, Hadi.
I
She
said I
just brought
bring a
the bell
lot.
hooks and
I said
peppers
I
and
bring a
what?
lot. I said I bring a lot. You're putting words into my
She
mouth.
just brought the bell hooks and
You know,
kept it at that.
I'm kind of sad that we won't be able to put reactions out for the 19th episode,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
because I think like it's
Yeah.
all of us like one of our favorite episodes
Yeah.
at this point, and it would have been great to see how people reacted to it.
I was editing it and I was like, whoa. I know I've said this as well about so many episodes, but it was just a really lovely discussion.
Just
But yeah, we'll
recording
put it
that
out on social
episode-
media. It
Just
would be
recording
nice.
that episode was.
We were here just having a ball. And we hope you guys enjoyed listening to it as well. But I mean, for me, beyond the comments, obviously people are loving the discussion. They're relating to some of it. But there's also a lot of action that they're taking based on, the conversations
That's
that we
what
were
I love.
having. And I think some of the episodes towards the end, we're also asking them to do something.
Yeah.
Set your boundaries. I remember Susie was like, I think the healthy relationships one. She's like, as soon as I'm done transcribing this, I'm going to set my boundaries. So we'll be coming to you to take accountability and see if you did set those boundaries. But a lot of impact as well. Can we call it impact? Because there's this whole thing around results and
We
impact
can't
and
measure.
stuff. Exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, just what it has inspired people to do.
To do, yeah.
Sometimes you read the reactions and this is coming from a very, very personal place.
Actually, this episode this is a bit funny, but my older sister, she also has her kids listen to the episode. So the episode we did on menstruation, on periods, she had her two daughters, teenage daughters, listen to it. So she said once they were listening to it, her son came and asked her, asked what they were doing. They told her they were learning about. He asked her, so Sister Hadi, how good can be the day menstruate? So my sister is foolish. Wow, when you turn 13, you're gonna start seeing your period. So this boy went and took his sister's phone and went on Google and searched, do boys get their period? Oh my god.
But it's a really important one. Because then for me, I've had, so shout outs to Ruth. Ruth is my sister in Uganda. And when she started listening, every episode she'd come and say, Jama, why are you dragging our lives? Because she could just relate to a lot of the one on money, the one on failure, the one on healthy relationships and setting boundaries. So she's always talking, why are you dragging our lives? I'm like, the drag starts with us. We're dragging ourselves first.
No, you know what's even wilder? Every time we record an episode, like right after, we'll see like a quote or something off the internet that talks specifically, some kind of discussion, even if it's not on the internet, in real life, that talks specifically about what we just mentioned. And it's just like, whoa.
Relevance. Relevance. Love to see it. Do we have any more that we want to go through, or do we keep them for like towards the tail end?
We have those from our accessibility officers.
We'll take those and just make them as part of our reflections, right? Who wants to take IJ's?
I'll take it.
Yeah. So how do you give us IJ's comment?
You people never even take time to ask Ida and I, but every time you throw that "How are you doing?" question at the beginning of the podcast, I respond with "My back is dislocated."
She's been telling us we all are a spa treat for her back aches.
I have been fired from this podcast more times than I can count, but I would still steal this line from my favorite podcasters in Nigeria and say, Musso Podcast is the best podcast in the country. Woo! I have a lot of favorite episodes. It's been really great journeying with you on this. I look forward to season 2, and hopefully you'll give us some video content and a lot of razzle dazzle here and there. Thank you for the great content, the consistency, and your quote unquote humble perspective.
She knows there's nothing humble about us. She knows there's nothing humble about us. But thank you. I mean, IJ has been a really great sport.
She has.
I remember when we reached out to her, like at the beginning, we're like, this is what we want to do. She was like, yeah, I'm happy to support. I'm happy to help in any way. And she's been at it consistently, week in, week out.
And she's so busy.
But she's always at it, and I think it's added really great value to our goal, to make sure we had fully subtitled episodes on YouTube.
Accurately subtitled too. Very accurate.
Yep. So everything you've seen, the videos you see, for those of you who access the podcast on YouTube, that's your girl right there. Aissatou Diallo, Elicha, IJ, mini dictator.
Mini.
Mega-sized dictator.
Thank you very much.
Mega-sized dictator. And she has a partner in crime. Because guys, they knew they Joe Hamga.
Mm-hmm.
They gossip about
But they don't hide it.
Let's hear from Susie.
Susie says, I have one comment. Where do I sign up to join y'all siblinghood? No, but seriously, the bond you guys share shines through in every episode. It's crazy. Whether it's the heavy episodes or the light ones, my takeaway is always the airtight bond between you three. Not gonna lie, it mocks my loneliness sometimes, but the love and the air of I'll always catch you is infectious. More of that next season. Also, I can't believe I'm saying this because it means more work for me, but it'll be cool to have guests come on next season. Preferably people who are just as crazy as you three. More of the cursing too. Love that! Exclamation.
I told her she had one chance to cuss us out.
You know, and she chose to be sweet.
And she chose to be nice and sweet.
I don't know this Susie.
So to having guests on season 2.
Who would y'all like to see on
Exactly,
the
let us
podcast?
know.
Who do you want here?
You know, you guys, I just remembered that episode where we had internet issues and you had to go all the way to Mayam's office to upload the episode.
And this will fall and upload how much 6 like upload the episode. We have
been
suffered.
Wow.
We have suffered. My goodness. But yeah, I mean, it's been all worth it. So we've had from our accessibility officers, right? We wish we could bring the other people that contribute, but they be men's.
Mm-hmm.
And we're putting men's voices on this podcast.
Never.
We already have enough on the jingle.
Never.
That's enough
And
representation.
even that, we were like,
yeah. It was at the last minute that we decided, let's just go with it.
we didn't have a choice.
So my dear Ibu, they can my delete an episode.
No, Eva understands. I'm going to try put them left click. That's not loyalty.
It's about time, a woman opened the studio because really we're tired. Yeah.
That's our next project, Make it all about the women's. Anyways, what has been your favorite? We put out 20. This is episode 20, right? What would you say was your favorite episode?
Honestly, 19, and also the drug use one.
Yeah.
So they're all about love
And
and
19.
drug use, yeah.
What did you like? What was it about those two?
I think what I love about this podcast, first of all, is that we're tackling topics that are not necessarily talked about, but we do so in a way that's really friendly and inviting. And I feel like a lot of the time we're able to like deconstruct a lot of myths.
Yeah.
And just having that platform, just be able to say stuff. Because also I learn so much from the both of you consistently all the time. And I just really, 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 really enjoy that.
Apart from that, any other? So those two. Okay, we'll just take those two and go.
Yeah, for me, I
what
think
you're digging.
the same. The episode 19. But then also the episode on grooming and sexual violence. It was a very heavy episode.
Mm-hmm.
But if you know me, you know like that is a passion for me. That's something I'm really interested in, and I love the conversations we had and the issues we looked at, and also the feedback we had from that episode. How a lot of people felt they could relate to it, and a lot of people also learned from it. I really loved that episode. I love talking about sexual violence, even though it's triggering, but But yeah, and apart from that, the fear of failure one. Yes, the fear of failure one. That one hit home. It was a self-drag.
Yeah. For all of us.
For all of us.
It was a lot.
And for most of the people who were listening as well.
Yeah.
I think for me, I love the ones where we were ranting.
Mm-hmm.
So the one where we were dissing the government, the Women's Day one. I loved the Black Tax one because there was a full rant, even though we said we were not ranting.
It's a therapy session.
And then I also loved the money episode because then I was like, pay me my bills. And with regards to that one, I think we got feedback from somebody who did not agree. So it's Buya again. She did not really agree with the takes on that one around volunteering and all of that. So she's saying the episode on money matters. I think I don't agree entirely with your stance on volunteering. I totally agree that it can be abused, but there's an importance in volunteering we should acknowledge and not feel that every work we do should be rewarded financially. I'll listen back and highlight the part exactly I'm referring to. So I've invited her to a debate. And I said, okay, when you bring in that part, because I think with that episode, what we're saying was those experiences are important, but it's really, really bad when it gets to a point where it turns into abuse and exploitation and all of that. Yeah. But it was really good to also know people are not just nodding to everything that we're saying, you know, and giving us the taps and turn around, get them waddling in. That was really nice. Any more? What other episodes? I mean, not favorites maybe, but that you really enjoyed, perhaps recording or listening to again. For those of you that listen to the thing,
The Humble for what?
oh, that was the best.
The Humble for what?
You know, my favorite thing about that is literally so many of my friends, like, we'll have a conversation about something and then they'll just reference, like, you know, the humble for what saying.
Yeah.
Like, it's a big thing because it's really, I do think that it had reached so many people in terms of realizing, you know what, I have no reason to be fake humble.
Yeah.
And I have no reason to pretend that I'm not who I am.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, I had an interaction that reminded me of the things we said about fake humility.
Yep.
Because I was doing interviews and I was interviewing this man. And, you know, after the interview, we just started chatting. So we started chatting, and this conversation somehow got into, you know, how he's worked his whole life. He's helped a lot of people, named those people, but also how now, you know, he leaves his house at a certain place of town and goes to his family house in Banjul to just sit there and sokorombe fofunono, because he was wearing this tattered shirt. So sokorombe fofunono, hamga, you would think ne mom hamga dulifin dofla or something, blah blah blah. And, you know, but because mom dafa humble bopam, like, and I'm like, the whole time he was speaking, I was just thinking,
Where is the humility?
where is the humility? Why do you have to tell me of all these people you helped? Secondly, why do you have to wear a tattered shirt to show that you're humble? Like, what are you trying to prove?
Exactly.
Nah. But
No, that episode did well.
yeah,
For
he
me, I
did
think it was
really
one of
well.
my faves, to be honest.
He did well.
Like, because that
It was
humility
great.
thing.
It was great.
And I think the great thing also was after that, how people were just coming out to celebrate themselves and their wins. And it's like, yes, celebrate yourself. It doesn't make you pompous or
We
whatever.
love
the
to
We
word
love
is.
seeing y'all win, though. That's what it
Yeah.
is. We love seeing y'all post y'all wins. We love it.
Mm-hmm.
We love to say it.
Because it always inspires the next woman, whether you realize it or not.
Yeah.
What you think is not that great is a milestone for someone else, and you reaching it shows that they can also reach it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely. It hasn't all been rosy.
Yeah.
Not all peaches and cream.
Mm-hmm.
I got my
You know,
peaches
juggling
like
this
Georgia.
whole full-time. Because you realize the podcasting is a full-time job.
It is.
Eventually, that's what I pause one moment. Every single day I'm doing Musso work. Every single, from Monday to Sunday to Monday again, back to Sunday. There's some Musso work that
Thank
we're
you,
doing.
producer Bay.
Because of all of the stuff that we were.
Disappear.
No, but then we're also doing the postings on social media. We're doing so it's not like there's a stop where we just come record and that's it. So there's always, you're trying to like connect with your audience. You're trying to maintain your brand and all of that. It's a lot. What has been our biggest challenge? We left our money.
I was going to say finances. If you're listening, we need
We'll keep that
money.
for the
No,
end
but
and
you
we'll
know
just hold our pot and go around.
No, I think for the past month or two at least, it's been a timing.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we've been very, very, very busy, and just finding like the 2 hours to be able to like sit down and all of that. It's been very like, me and Gone 2 episodes ago, we were like, why can't we just make this the finale?
You know, I gotta figure, episode 10.
was ready- I was
Why
ready
don't
to
we just do a 10 episode season?
No, but after we agreed to do 20, I was like, fine. But by the time we got to
No!
15, I was
No,
over
no,
it.
no.
I was over it.
like 26. That's what you
Yeah,
said.
we're
Yeah,
gonna
you
go
said
up.
26.
No, we're gonna go till like December and do like every year one season.
I was like,
Time.
what?
No.
I said, what?
After
And then
episode...
I got 21, and 22, and I got me decide, you know
You know-
what? This is our finale. Bye, people.
Forever.
I remember when Os just came and he came here, he was like, how is Musso? How's everything? We're like, oh, it's okay. We're getting to it. We're tired now. We're ready for it to be over. And he was like, is it beginning to feel like a chore? Yeah.
At some point, yeah.
I mean, the
Yeah.
thing is, it's not even that, because it's like, before we get to the studio, it feels like, oh my god, this is dragging. But once we start talking, it's like,
Can't stop, won't stop.
And that's why how long is the episode? People keep asking us how long is the episode, because we come and we can't stop talking. You know, but we've really enjoyed it. I mean, it's been 20 episodes. It's been really, really long. A lot of hard work. I think that timing has been, because also, I mean, this is not all we're doing. We all have full-time jobs. We all have other things that we're committed to. And this was just a fun project, and it turned out to be a whole full-time job in
full-time
itself. you know, so it's not been the easiest. And obviously with all of the issues around internet and, you know, the money and
the hot studio.
yeah.
We need someone to donate us a silent air conditioner.
I cannot tell you how many times
We're tired of stripping
You guys have
in
been
the
hearing
studio.
our upwork.
I've had to. Oh, not just that. How many times I've had to strip in the studio? Me, I can't do heat. Like, I cannot. I absolutely cannot.
But they say from hardship, there are always lessons. What lessons are we drawing from this? Like from the whole experience.
We need an AC.
I'm talking about life lessons and those things, you know, not the material things.
Oh, well, the life lesson one is you don't realize what you can accomplish until you actually start.
Yeah.
Because who would have thought?
Just
Like, I
running
believe in
our
us,
feet.
but did I really?
I didn't believe we could come this far.
Because if you know all of the projects that we have proposed
Wow.
and discussed,
Remember wow?
get alive with my laptop, my design window phone, and I just closed it
We should bring that
Yeah.
because
back.
I was
eventually.
ashamed.
We're gonna bring it back because that's great.
But yeah, we've started many projects, but I think in the past maybe 4 years, this is the one that we've seen through to the
We've
end.
committed to,
And
yeah.
it's funny that this has come at a time when our lives are 100 times busier than they used to be, but somehow we've committed to, you know, making it to the end, and you know, that's a really good thing.
That is great.
I think they're going to roastam it.
Yeah, it has to be more, buddy, because
Because right from the promo, they were threatening us.
yeah, so yeah, you know, we're here.
Man, gotcha, Rick.
And gotcha. Then I'm Jomli.
I think resilience is important, but also the commitment helps. But I think for me, the other thing is also just when, you know, how partnership works. You know, how when people just take things to be their own, there's a lot of commitment, a lot of effort goes into it. You know, so all of us, you know, Ibu making time when he's not available, he sends classic, you know, just to make sure we're not skipping
Shout out
the
to
times when
Classic.
when we're supposed to record. You know, the
Papis.
two isotutes over there. Papis makasane hi rek. I just come and said hi, and he knows it's time.
Sometimes he'll message me. He'll be like, "She started again."
Every time I wake up, I'm like, hi. And you know, recently what I told her, I sent him hi, and I'm like, I see you're online, so no need to escape from the app and come back. Just reply by message right now. But then, I mean, it's a lot of people who have just really embraced what we were trying to do, you know, and just given all of themselves to the work.
For free.
For free.
Like,
For
that
free.
is amazing. I think I've learned that our stories are not unique to us. Because the more we share, the more you have people relating to what you're sharing and also sharing their experiences. So, you know, as cliche as it is, you're not alone. It's really a thing. You're not alone in your experiences. There's someone going through the same thing, and always you speaking up gives someone else a chance or, you know, the courage to speak up about what they're going through or their experiences. So yeah, I wish, you know, there'd be more platforms on which people, especially Gambian women, would share their experiences and, you know, things they've learned, especially in their professional lives. I think, yeah, it would be really important.
Absolutely. Beyond one story.
Beyond one story.
Yep.
So, I think for season 2, what are we looking for? I mean, even before that, I guess be on the lookout.
We're looking for money first.
But be on the lookout for merchandise. Be on the lookout for other stuff before we launch season 2. You know, promote the Musso brand a little bit. We said the earrings. When are the earrings coming?
I'm wearing mine, actually. I wish they could
Yeah, I
see.
wore mine today, but then the fatang on top, so it was too much. It was too much. Shout outs to Rose as well. That's another person that really
Yeah.
jumped on it with a lot of love and made us Musso earrings. But it's been several things. It's a whole journey with everything that journeys come with, right? The love, the ups, the downs, the everything. Like, it's been really interesting though. And for me, like, I would do it all over again, right? And it pays off because people are listening to Musso in 47 countries when I checked today. And we've crossed over 6,000 plays in the time since we put out our first promo.
Wow.
You know, and I think our best performing episode was episode 1. We had over 576 plays as at the time of recording the podcast. And what's interesting is every day you go, people are listening even back to, you know, episode 1. Maybe they're just discovering the podcast and but the figures have been really, really steady. You know, people showing a lot of love to our episodes, always hitting above like 100 plays for each episode. And that has been really nice, you know. And obviously our biggest audience is in the Gambia. We have people in Gambia. We also have people in the US. So I think it's Gambia, UK, US. So yeah, we have an audience in 47 countries, right? And the biggest audience obviously in Gambia. And then second is USA, then you have UK, you have Canada, Senegal, then France. So it's a fair distribution of our audience. A lot of people are listening on Apple.
Yeah.
So it's an elite podcast. Apple and Spotify is really where we're getting most of our audiences. But the beautiful thing, our audience is largely female. So 87% of the people who are listening to the podcast identify as female. So Anchor doesn't really give us data so they have it there, like not specified and non-binary, but they're not giving us the data on that. Because I think also the devices they're tracking from don't really have those. So we have 87% female and 13% male. And I like that the men are also listening because they're draggy. There's still a lot of things they need to learn.
Anyway.
The age group that listens to us the most, it's people between 23 and 27. And I think that's really... It's the age range where you're dealing with a lot of the things that we've been discussing. But we also have people 60 plus who are listening to the podcast. So that's amazing. There's a certain category where we haven't had numbers, and so that's one thing that we need to look at. But yeah, Musso's been doing numbers around the world, and we're really grateful to be seeing, that journey. It's a lot of encouragement for us. It's reminding us that, this is a space that's very much needed. And people really just want, a guide or somebody to just lead them into the conversations, right? Let's take final feedbacks, the rest of the feedback that we got together, and then we'll call it a day or a year. So we had one on YouTube, which was really nice because of what she was saying.
It was very unexpected.
Ngo, you want to give us that one?
Yes, sure. So this one is from... I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing this wrong. Sia or Kaya.
I think Saya.
Saya or Kaya Kennedy. She says, ladies, as I continue to plan my relocation to the Gambia, I truly rely on your voices for a non-biased perspective. Through you all, I get to keep a pulse on the society. Thanks for providing this platform. Now I'm off to the other 2 episodes.
Yeah. She also gave us a long comment on the menstruation one.
Yeah.
Also, but my thing is, girl, why would you want to move here?
Yeah.
But
I was kidding.
I was shook.
We reserve that for another day.
Work or something.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. Welcome to the Smiling Coast. Sometimes.
I guess. There's another one too. From Francisca. And it goes, really enjoying this podcast and sharing it with all my Gambian girlfriends, using its knowledge to empower women seen in clinic. So good to see people resisting and educating.
I think you particularly love that one because of the clinic setting that she's using it for. So we'll take a last one, or maybe 2 more. So Mariam on Twitter is also saying, I really look forward to a new episode every Monday. I love how it has slowly become one of my fave podcasts. Thank you, ladies. Thank you.
Thank you for listening, Mariam. And of course, from
Another
our
Mariam.
sister, the other Mariam, Yamsi. I think this response was to the difficult woman. And she said, loved every episode, but this week's takes the cake. As a certified difficult woman, this episode gave me life. I love you, ladies.
Welcome to the community.
Welcome.
We were building a community.
And this is the one. When I read this, I was like, girl.
I just closed it.
She said, her name is Awa, and she said, loved every episode and never wanted any to end. There's always 1 or 2 things I learned from the discussions. Give us content twice a week, please. Girl, you got twice a week money?
Does she love us?
Do you really?
Finally.
And that was on Instagram. So we'll end the listener feedbacks with the rest of Boya's comment. And she's basically saying, generally, my feedback is A1. I've been hooked from day one and often spend the evening after listening, not just self-reflecting, but 3-hour conversations with my sister too, which has literally been a form of therapy on learning so much and acknowledging how these experiences have shaped us. So many things you guys touch on are the absolute realities of our lives. Very relevant topics, and I like the structure of the podcast. That's the quotes, the Musso of the week, etc. And she also said every time when she starts to listen, she begins to guess who our Musso is gonna be. So she did it for the Lala one. I think she mentioned Rahim Malik Law, and she was like, "Oh, I found out it's Lala." She was my second guess, and I said, "Oh, we were also thinking Rahim Malik Law, but then we decided to go with Lala." She also talks about the Ramadan one and is saying, speaking of the social pressures we're put under, I remember deciding as soon as I was married that there are many traditions I refuse to carry on, and one was the Yekale, because why? Instead, I chose to show appreciation in other ways and being more deliberate in my actions or choices, and not because this is what is done. So hearing that just made me smile. And tell Hadi she deserves an award for marriage is a harmful traditional practice. We're putting that on a shirt.
I'm affirmed.
And we're sending the shirt to Buya. So basically, finally, I think listening to the episode or listening to the podcast, I felt like I've been on a journey together with another podcast that she listens to. The content is similar and other books she's been reading. So one thing that she would like to see is maybe us recommending books and podcasts and videos and other work around the topics we're discussing in case people want to delve into that some more. I know that would be very useful for me, or we can do that privately. We'll try to do that for everyone. So she's saying thank you for a fantastic job.
Thank you,
Thank
Bria.
you, Bria, our number one fan.
Yeah, she's always listening and always sharing. And I love how she dragged her sisters into listening and puts them through the sessions. So season 2, when are we giving them season 2?
We don't know.
TBA.
You'll hear us
To
when
be
you hear
announced.
us. You'll hear us when you hear us. But yeah,
It's not going to be a long break, but TBA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things we're trying to put together is our finances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because one lesson that we did not mention is realizing producing the podcast is actually expensive. If we want to continue giving you the quality that we want, but also, compensating the people who are doing this with us and compensating ourselves as well. So we're looking at opportunities out there. If you have any or you see any, you can send them our way. So we can take our shot and look at what we can bring you for episode or for season 2 of the Musso Podcast.
Again, we'll have merchandise in between. So
during
earrings, t-shirts.
The marriage is a harmful traditional
yes,
practice.
marriage is a harmful traditional practice. It's going to be a t-shirt.
Place your orders.
What is going to be a t-shirt? If there's any other quotes that you've liked that we've said throughout and you want it on a t-shirt, let us know. We'll have it out for you.
We'll have one for Deguma English.
Yeah. And Sasahati. So let us know. Just consider it as a way of you supporting the podcast. We're also trying to figure out a way on the Anchor platform where you could maybe buy us a coffee or make a donation that could also go into producing season 2 of the podcast. There's a lot of recommendations, but we can't really put them out there. We can't really practice them if we don't have the means to. So we will be back. When we are back, just keep your eyes on our social media platforms for the announcements. We're doing Musso of the week for the final episode. Who are our Mussos? Who is our Musso?
Do we need Mussos for this week?
Well, okay. IJ is a Musso, and then Susie is our favorite non-binary.
I don't like the way you're saying it. Take it again.
I'm not taking it again. That's the
Can you
most
let us
energy
know?
they'll have from me.
Out.
Don't do it.
So let's go to the Musso of the week. It's our final one for the season.
So, of course, the Mussos of the week, very apt, very timely. By now you can guess because I'll give you a hint. They're bullies. They bully us all the time. But they also are babies, and we love them and we truly appreciate them. And it's only right that to close this season, we give them this honor or this award. They are amazing people. Ida Suare, aka Susie Baby, and Aisatu Diallo, aka IJ, our accessibility officers. Thank you so much for your service. We're truly grateful for you, for all the time you spend in producing this episode, the sleepless nights, everything else. We're truly grateful. We thank you, and we hope you'll be with us throughout the coming seasons.
I guess. But
why are you so negative?
I guess. Nah,
we love them.
We do love them.
Love them.
The only reason we're doing this, I'm pretending, is because I genuinely do care about them. But we would also like to thank Right Click, aka Classic, and Left Click.
new left click.
The new left click. No, but for real though, thank you to Right Click for, for just taking the time to journey with us, to making time for us, and always giving us the space for the studio, recording, editing, everything for free. We would like to thank DJ Spirit also for the promo jingle. Thank you so much. And yeah.
Also, thank you to Mr. Subliminal, Papis Njai. Xam nañ ne Hadi and Jama have bullied you throughout.
I don't bully
these past year and a half. It's really been this past year and a half, but we're truly grateful for your constant support. Amulo Morom, Yandala Yala Faye. Thank you, Papis.
It's enough. You
can find him on social media at 9 Graphics.
Yeah.
That's my brother though.
Contact our people. It's a lot of people who've just run that service to us. Sending a lot of love as well to Singate. He's my husband. Singate, who graciously gave us the Musso theme song for free, not asking for anything at all. It's something that he hadn't even put out there like that, and it just worked for us very well, and he just gave that to us to use for free. So thank you so much. Thanks to the whole community that has lifted us up and just held us and celebrated us and loved us, and even bullied us into putting out episodes. We really appreciate all of you. The Musso Podcast is here to stay. You can stay connected to us on our social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Our YouTube channel is also live. Do I spell it?
Yes.
So we're everywhere as at Musso Podcast. That's MUSSOPODCAST. And keep sending us your feedback. If you're just discovering the podcast and you want to share feedback as well, our hashtag is #MUSSOPOD. This is us signing out.
Thank you, everyone.
After a very wonderful season. We'll be back very soon. Bye.
Peace out.